I'm just trying to understand. Help me out, Mary.
Okay. So
Mary was waiting for that.
Yeah.
Mary.
no, so my take on it is of course, straight to the post, exactly what the post said. I feel like people, like I had said previously, people focus on the factor of not cheating, that's always the deal breaker. It's not the deal breaker. You know what I'm saying? They point out, oh, he didn't cheat. Who cares? You know what I'm saying? And what Nay was kind of going around is the fact that they're growing as individuals. And sometimes my take on men sometimes is they're one track minded. You know what I'm saying? Like their mind goes one way a lot of times. And it's just, this is the start, this is the end. I don't see nothing else outside of that. You get what I'm saying? So when it comes to being with somebody for so long, somebody can be telling you something, showing you all the signs. I don't believe for one bit that he was just oblivious to what was going on. You've been with this girl over 20 years. You weren't oblivious at all. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like he kind of just accepted how she was changing, but not addressing it to her, maybe directly, like, hey, what's going on? Things are kind of different, blah, 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 blah. But I think back to like a conversation we had before, I feel like she was just finding herself, like more so into herself and who she is, that she lost touch with who she was to her husband, who she was with her spouse, because she could have molded her life completely around her husband, which a lot of people do. Mold their life completely around their family and lose themselves. And at one point she could have realized like, hey, like this is not what I want to do until I die. You get what I'm saying? Like there's so much things going on in this world. Like this is not what I want to do. Let me focus back on me and center myself around me and see what happens from there. And with her focusing on her, maybe she did kind of lose balance with him, whether he became more distant and focused on himself and what he's doing, and they just kind of separated that way. But I definitely don't think that it had anything to specifically do with marriage. I don't even think something like that you can just be like,
Mary, you filibustering. So, question: Nay point contradicts yours because Nay's saying that she's doing more stuff for her family via her Instagram.
Her kids, but that surrounds herself. Her kids, she's talking about Tia herself, which is she's a mom. She likes to cook. She likes to do this and that and all that that's shown on Instagram. It's more so showing towards herself and what she's doing herself. That's still, you're still a mom. Your mom, being a mom is still a part of who you are more than anything.
But it's not about you though.
It still is about you. Being a mom is you.
But it's not about you though, right?
But it is. It still is about you.
Being a mom is about you or is it about the kids?
What you do with the kids, how you're involved with the kids, that's still you. It's not like you in a relationship with somebody. I feel like that's a completely different type of life, love, whatever the case may be, from your kids that make you who you are in a sense.
I have to disagree there. I think that those are all titles. I think mom, wife, lover, I think all of those are titles. And then there's who you are outside of those titles.
That's true. But she's still, like, with Mary's point, she's trying to find herself within those titles.
I feel like when you have young kids, like you're still like so much of you is still like you can leave your relationship. You can't leave your kids. Like so much of who your kids are is still attached to who you are. Like I watch certain things that I do because of my kids. That doesn't mean that I'm not being like, myself.
It's another, I have to disagree with you again, Mary. Because I think when you are married, leaving is not as easy of an option as it is if you're not married. I think when you're married, that commitment is almost synonymous to the commitment that you have when you have kids. Like it ain't no fucking leaving. That's a marriage.
I'm glad you look at it that way. It's not a bad way to look at marriage.
Like if y'all going, if all the shit they going through now, they should have got that shit out the way before they committed in that way. Fucking figure it out.
But again, we don't know what they're going through. They could be in two different spaces in life right now, and she probably communicated it.
Yeah, so go sleep in another room. until you figure it out. Like,
and they probably did that. They're just now saying it. They're announcing
why
it
are you
now.
saying that she did all the right things and he didn't listen?
Yo, did you notice that every time
It
they
could have
explain it?
been. I don't know.
Hold on. Did y'all notice that when they both started, it started off with what the man did wrong? Like nobody's initial thought was maybe she wasn't communicating effectively. Right when they first jumped on, she probably communicated and he wasn't listening. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's instantly always put on us like first by default. Mary, you was on both sides of it, but the initial is always like the man. Did y'all peep that?
You're right.
The post putting it on her, so I was just saying it in her defense. The post was already on his side, so I was defending her in a sense.
Yeah,
well,
I can agree with that. I don't think you cover blindsided.
But I feel like to Hamp's question is the idea of marriage champion. It's not. And the women who want to do it, they want to do it because they don't like they just want it, right? We know how the majority of women are taught like you have to be married, have the family, so they want it until they're actually in it. But they want it for the wrong reasons. Marriage is not built off of purpose anymore, right? Even back in the day, it still served a purpose. Now, not a purpose that I agree with. So I realized people stayed together just because it worked, since the man was working and, you know, the woman took care of the home. So they kind of had to do it based off of roles. I feel like that marriage should be based on a purpose even greater than roles, right? So like, what is the purpose of us coming together? Because again, I feel like marriage is bigger than just the two of us, and purpose exceeds love. Remember when we had that conversation and I'm like, love is not the main thing for marriage. And the reason why marriage is in, because they base it off of love and feelings. And then when those love and feelings change, according to Q, do what's best for you. And it's and that's good for everybody. Right. I love you so much, Q. So glad you're here. So, but that's why, like, the purpose of marriage is, it's not it. They do it based off of feelings. So it's not championed anymore. Men aren't, one of you, I think it was Nate, somebody said something about with the men, but it's not the men leaving, it's the women leaving, because they're getting themselves into something, either with somebody, either one, they don't know themselves fully, two, they don't know the person who they are marrying fully, three, they don't have a solid foundation or purpose for getting married. They don't understand those dynamics. So then they enter something based off of something that's unstable and shaky, like feelings, like having fun. They have no idea what a divorce does, right? Like, I've been through a divorce. A divorce, it's like, it's worse than death, right? Because it's literally something that's dead, but you still have to see it. You lose a loved one, you don't have to see them no more. So it's just the healing. You get a divorce, I still had to drop my kids off to my house where another man was and then dip out, right? That's still affecting my girls from one want to come with me, the other one want to come with the other person, right? But because we making all of these decisions based off of how we feel, and there's no moral standard, no consistency in which, okay, this is the reasons why we need to do these things across the board, is going to continue to be where it is now, where it's not championed anymore, and it's not.
We out.